Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. This is Michael Jaden X, and welcome to episode 1 of Warrior Women. In this episode, we'll be talking about Malcolm X's wife, Dr. Betty Shabazz, as today would be her 91st birthday. Without further ado, let's get into it. She was born Betty Dean Sanders on May 28, 1934, in Pinehurst, Georgia, to a teenage mother, Ollie Mae Sanders, and a 21-year-old father, Shulman Sandlin. Now, she grew up in Detroit, which she would be abused and neglected by her mother, and by the time she was 11 years old, she would be taken in by foster parents, Lorenzo and Helen Malloy. While living in Detroit, which is up north, she'd be sheltered from racism, as her foster family didn't talk about it much. In the 1950s, she attended college at Tuskegee University in Alabama, which was way more racist than what she was used to in Detroit. To the point where she would have to stay on campus more to avoid interacting with white people. But around this time, she moved to New York to attend the Brooklyn State College of Nursing to become a nurse. During her second year of school there, she was invited by one of her nurse's aides to attend a dinner party at the Nation of Islam's temple in Harlem. It was here where she met Malcolm X. Now, they dated for a couple years until he called her on the phone to propose to her, and they got married on January 14th, 1958, in Lansing, Michigan. They were the parents of 6 daughters: Attila, born 1958, Kabila, born in 1960, Ilyasa, born in 1962, Gamila, born in 64, and twins Malika and Malak, born in 65. Now, their family would be subject to harassment and threats because of Malcolm's preachings. On March 8th, 1964, they had left the Nation of Islam to become Sunni Muslims. While with the Nation of Islam, they were Malcolm X and Betty X. But when they became Sunni Muslims, they changed their last name to Shabazz. In February 1965, in the middle of the night, their house caught on fire. Specifically, it was firebombed, allegedly by the Nation of Islam, as revenge against Malcolm. 1 week later, on February 21st, 1965, Malcolm was due to have a speech at the Audubon Ballroom in New York City, in which he invited Betty and their 3 older daughters to attend. And at this time, Betty was a couple months pregnant with their youngest daughters, who were twins. The speech would be interrupted by somebody yelling, "Get your hand out of my pocket!" And a smoke bomb went off. This was to distract Malcolm's security guards to go break that up. And when they let their guard down, a man with a shotgun charged the stage and blasted Malcolm. And then 2 other men with guns came forward and started shooting at him. Malcolm was rushed to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 3:30. Now, Betty would have to rebuild her life so she could provide for her children, and she later gave birth to her twins that September. And the next to enough royalties from Malcolm's autobiography, they were able to pay for a house in Mount Vernon, which is about 40 minutes away from New York City. Now, as her daughters grew up, she sent them to private schools, and she went back to school to get her degree. In 1972, she got her doctorate degree at the University of Massachusetts, Amherst. She even joined the Delta Sigma Theta in 1974. By 1976, she became a professor of health and sciences at the Medgar Evers College in Brooklyn. Now, Betty always had this theory that Louis Farrakhan, the leader of the Nation of Islam, was behind her husband's murder and held animosity against him for it. And this got worse by the 90s. In 1994, during a TV interview with Gabe Pressman, she was asked if she believed Farrakhan had anything to do with her husband's death. And she said yes. Nobody kept it a secret. It was a badge of honor. Everybody talked about it. In which Farrakhan responded that he didn't have anything to do with Malcolm's death. Well, by January 1995, her daughter Kabila was arrested and charged by apparently hiring a hitman to kill Farrakhan as revenge for Malcolm's murder. Now, Farrakhan actually defended Kabila, and Betty and Louis Farrakhan shook hands on stage at the Apollo Theater, which was a public event to raise money for Kabila's legal defense. Kabila Shabazz accepted a plea agreement with respect to the charges. She maintained her innocence, but still respected the charges for it. Under this agreement, she would have to undergo psychological counseling and treatment for drugs and alcohol abuse for 2 years in San Antonio, Texas. Around this time, her 10-year-old son, Malcolm Shabazz, had to live with Betty in Yonkers, New York. 2 years later, on June 1st, 1997, then 12-year-old Malcolm Shabazz set a fire in Betty's apartment, and she was stuck there to burn. Over 80% of her body was burned. She remained at the intensive care unit at the Jacobi Medical Center in the Bronx to undergo 5 skin grafts. But even this couldn't save her life. And 22 days later, on June 23rd, she died of her burns. Malcolm Shabazz would be arrested and sentenced to 18 months in a juvenile detention center for manslaughter and arson. In 2005, on what would have been her husband Malcolm's 80th birthday, Columbia University opened up the Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz Memorial and Educational Center, which is located in the Audubon Ballroom, which is where Malcolm was assassinated. Malcolm X and Betty Shabazz are interred at the Ferncliff Cemetery in Hartsdale, New York. Now, Betty would be the subject of the 2013 TV movie Betty and Coretta, in which she was portrayed by Mary J. Blige. Not only that, but she'd also be portrayed by Angela Bassett in the 1992 movie Malcolm X by Spike Lee. Rest in peace and happy heavenly birthday to Dr. Betty Shabazz, who kept her husband's memory alive when their very people betrayed them and killed him. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. And hit the bell notification so you can always be notified about my video when I post the newest video. See you next time.